Hey everybody, Tim here with a brand new show, brand new year. I've finally decided to do Orville. I'm super excited. I love this show. I think it's great. So, this is going to be season 1, episode 1, Old Wounds. Now, it's impossible to talk about Orville but not talk about Star Trek. Like it's fundamentally impossible. And I know a lot of people have tried to, but I'm not even going to try. Like, you have to compare the two. And especially, like, since we had Orville and Discovery basically come out at the exact same time, like, I have always, like, been vocal about, like, I actually prefer Orville over Discovery. Like, Orville's kind of that, like, it's more Star Trek than what the actual Star Trek show is. And I know that's probably going to piss off a lot of people, but, I mean, that's where I'm coming from. I absolutely loved it. So, Seth MacFarlane, I've always thought was really funny, and just, he's clearly a huge Star Trek fan. I've even talked about, like, when his appearances in Enterprise, like, that's how much of a fan he is. Like, he's had every actor from The Next Generation on his show, like, and I mean, it seems like him and Patrick Stewart are, like, best friends, so it's almost like it's his dream job, and he finally got his own Star Trek show. Now, all of that being said, I definitely think that this show is more, like, satire. Like, it's definitely pointing fun at Star Trek. Like, it's not just trying to copy it. It's definitely, like, look at this and comparing the two. I think he does a fantastic job at it. So, mostly for these reviews, I'm going to attempt to mostly talk about the story. Now, Seth MacFarlane, in my opinion, is a master writer for jokes and stuff like that, and some of the jokes that really stand out to me, I'm going to go ahead and comment on. But for the most part, like, if you want to see the jokes, if you want a good laugh, I'm just going to leave those in the episode. So, one thing that's interesting to note is that this pilot episode was actually directed by Jon Favreau, who's a great director, great writer. He, most notably right now, started the Marvel franchise with Iron Man, and now he's done The Mandalorian. So, like, he's everywhere right now. The show itself realistically takes place in 2419. The opening scene is 2418. But still, that alone, again, comparing it to Star Trek, is a little bit beyond Star Trek. It's about 40 years-ish, I think, past where Star Trek is. Picard's going to come out later this year, and I think that takes place, like, right at the year 2400. So it's about 20 years after Picard. So that alone, I already think it's kind of cool that they're like, we're going to go a little bit past you. The whole opening scene is just Ed catching his wife Kelly sleeping with this alien. And already, like, right off the bat, you're like, okay, so we're seeing stuff that we never saw in Star Trek. Like, it's completely different, and it's real world situation. So again, I'm already loving it. A year later, they show the title, which I thought was great. And again, gotta compare it to Star Trek, especially like The Next Generation that always shows the title. That's something you don't see anywhere in TV today. Like, you never see the titles on the screen. And it's funny, doing reviews for some shows that are, like, still, like, on the air and stuff, you don't see the title, so when I always do my introductions, I'm sure somebody's like, what's the title? So I thought that was great, that it actually says Old Wounds right there on the screen. So, kind of fast forwarding really quick, Ed makes captain, which Victor Garber's a great actor from Titanic and Flash and Legends and all sorts of stuff now. And him just being like, we're desperate, so we're going to take you. Damn, like, okay, no merits, we just need captains. Real world, real funny, I'm digging it. Him getting Gordon Mallory, his best friend, on the holodeck is fantastic. Like, again, like, promoting the people you know. As somebody who's worked retail, like, my entire life, I've seen that happen. So, I thought that was great. The whole, like, it's 9:15 and you're drinking a beer. That's one beer. Give it to me. Oh no, I'm drunk from one beer. Like, stuff like that. I mean, it probably shouldn't be funny. Everything's controversial these days. But still, it made me laugh. Just meeting all of the different races, like Alara Katan, who's the chief of security. She's great. John Lamar, the navigator. Can we have soda on the bridge? Stuff like that. Boris, the second officer, that his whole race is only males and they urinate once a year. great. Claire Finn, the chief medical officer, played by the amazing Penny Johnson-Gerald, who played Cassidy Yates in Deep Space Nine. So it's great to see her again. And again, like, all of these characters are kind of things and people you've seen in other shows. God, who else do we got? We got Isaac from Kalon 1, and he's like, aren't your people, like, legendarily racist? So stuff like that, it's funny. It really made me laugh. When they announce, like, who the commanding officer is going to be, who you meet later on in the episode, very much like the pilot of The Next Generation, where we don't meet Riker right away. We have to go pick up Riker. And he, like, finds out that it's Kelly, and he literally gets up and runs off the bridge. So a lot of stuff like that, like, I love physical humor, like the slapstick humor. So stuff like that really worked for me. We find out that his ex-wife, Kelly, is now his commanding officer, and that she was, because we saw her sleeping with the blue alien, but now they actually named it the Reptesian. Which, again, it's a kind of a Family Guy joke that the evil Peter, which is Peter spelled backwards, Retep, so it's Retepsian, and that she actually requested to be his first officer. And so, again, like, all of this is great. It's really family dynamic humor and talking to each other. And then, again, with where I like the real world situations is where you kind of see, like, the bridge crew and just Gordon being like, yeah, she's a total bitch. This is gonna suck. And them, like, all like, we shouldn't be talking about this. Oh no, we're talking about this. Like, we're doing it. And so it's great. And it's those things that you never really saw before. So just everything makes sense. And just the whole, like, a lot of his lines where it's like, you bailed on a marriage, so bailing on a crew must be a piece of cake. I love how, again, the pilot episode, they mentioned going to the bathroom, which Star Trek took 30 years, longer than that. So the first mission is for them to go drop off supplies. And when they get there, the doctor is like, no, we don't actually need the supplies. We just need to talk to you. And they cut, and the whole time, like, the navigator's even like, did you see that dog licking his balls the whole time? First thing I saw. It's that thing where, like, you never see anything really happen in the background. And then again, later on, to jump ahead, where he's, like, talking to the Krill, and he's like, you're awkwardly spaced. Can you like, take 2 steps? A lot of dead space. Oh, there you go. You're centered now. I can't. Like, it's so good. Because it's those things that we've taken for granted for so long. A lot of just, like, the awkward humor, like the whole banana scene where it's like, alas, we are protected from the bananas. Does it work with all things? What about salads? Stuff like that. The Krill, I thought, was great makeup. I thought they looked really interesting. Kind of pointing out for us at the viewers where he tells the doctor to stay behind Alara. And he's like, who's that? And she's like, that's me. And he's like, sorry, still learning names. It's the pilot episode. Like, even me, I'm probably messing up all of these names. But it takes a while to get used to them. The whole, when one of the Krill is on board and he's like, we've had seatbelts. Again, just a Star Trek reference. Nothing but Star Trek references, which is why I loved it. Sending the redwood over and making it grow very quickly, 100 years very quickly, and blasting the you got wood type thing. It was great foreshadow. I mean, we saw that with the banana scene, and then it comes back. It did really, really well. Ed asking Kelly to stay, and then Kelly talking to the Admiral about she's the one who asked Ed to get promoted. Like, instantly, it's planting these seeds. You see what I did there? Planting the seed. To grow later. And because you know this is going to come out eventually. So, I loved it. I thought this was a great pilot episode. I know a lot of people are really kind of turned off by Seth MacFarlane's humor, like the dick jokes, the pot jokes, stuff like that. And I know a lot of people who said, like, season 1 was a little heavy, and then season 2 it actually kind of mellowed out and found its own footing. I liked it from the beginning. I think all season 1s are difficult to get through because that whole, you're learning people's names, and it's a little bit rough. Still, it hooked me in this first episode. I already liked it. You got the villains. You kind of got the humor. You know what's going on. Even that scene where, like, Ed's running and he runs through the character, the Norm Macdonald character, And still, like, it's stuff that you never saw, but you have to assume that it was happening everywhere else. So I don't know. I'm really loving this show already. Super excited for it. Like I said, it's impossible to talk about this without talking about Star Trek. I'm going to try my best to really kind of keep it on its own. I'm going to fail, and I apologize, but I'm really curious. What did you guys think about the whole pilot episode? What did you think about the connections, even the actor connections? What do you think about Seth MacFarlane? Go ahead, let me know. Thank you guys for watching, and I'm hoping you're going to enjoy it as much as I am, and I'll see you guys next time for Command Performance.